The Epstein files are back in the spotlight, and Moscow says they ripped the mask off Western power. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova says the documents expose how Western elites treat children, dragging elite hypocrisy into full public view. What emerges is not just a scandal, but a chilling snapshot of unchecked ambition operating beyond ethics, law, and borders.
The recently published Epstein files, containing 3.5 million documents, clearly demonstrate this. Now, we know how the Western elite treat children, including their own. In general, it probably no longer matters to them. You can see for yourself what they are doing to children.
At the center of the storm, Jeffrey Epstein, and a project that reads like science fiction. According to correspondence cited by Zakharova, Epstein showed interest in funding experiments aimed at creating so-called designer children, pushing genetic manipulation beyond theory and into dangerous territory.
What can you expect from people who have subjected children to violence and corruption for years and decades? They have made it a routine, recruiting more and more victims of this depravity, including minors and adults. They motivate these people with promotions in their political careers.
The emails, attributed to programmer Brian Bishop, describe ongoing tests on mice inside a laboratory in Ukraine and spell out ambitions far more disturbing. The stated goal, to move beyond garage biology and progress toward the first live birth of a designer child, even raising the prospect of a human clone within years. Zakharova says, financial breakdowns attached to the correspondence point to structured funding plans, underscoring how these ideas were not idle fantasies but organized proposals. Ukraine's appearance as a research base adds another layer of unease, raising questions about regulatory gaps and offshore experimentation.
They are behind the Kiev regime and are giving it enormous funds to kill children of civilians, to legalize black transplantology on Ukrainian territory, as Zelensky did in 2022, by simplifying the procedure for removing organs from people, even without their consent.
The revelations land amid earlier reports that Ukraine, and even President Volodymyr Zelensky, were referenced in Epstein-related files, linked to human trafficking claims. Moscow frames the picture as systemic rot, not isolated deviance. A warning, it says, of what happens when elite power operates without moral restraint, attributed to statements by Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova.
A hellish conglomerate. On February 3rd, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte made another aggressive statement that after a peace agreement is reached in Ukraine, certain troops, weapons, aircraft, and naval forces from the so-called Coalition of the Willing will immediately appear there, on the territory of what was once a prosperous country, region.